Have you ever felt completely drained trying to make something happen, even when it feels impossible? What if I told you that forcing things in your life might actually be what's holding you back? In today's video, inspired by Carl Jung's wisdom, we'll explore why letting go and stopping the struggle could be the key to your true transformation. Stick around until the end to discover how this shift can open doors you never expected and change your life forever. Have you ever felt like you're fighting against the whole universe, trying to force things to go the way you want? Like you're rowing upstream against an invisible current, pushing for something that just won't move forward? That kind of struggle is exhausting. And here's the truth: life doesn't work like that. No matter how hard we try to push circumstances with sheer willpower, there's a deeper flow at work, one that doesn't bend to our immediate desires. Carl Jung, one of the greatest thinkers about the human unconscious, saw this relentless effort as a clear sign we're out of touch with our true selves. So why do we push so hard? Is it fear of emptiness, anxiety about failure, or simply not listening to what the silence is trying to tell us? Forcing things is like trying to keep something alive on life support that it demands constant effort, drains our energy, and deep down, we all know it's not really working. Our minds come up with reasons, we rationalize, we cling to false hopes, but our bodies and souls feel the truth. When something truly aligns with who we are, it flows naturally. That doesn't mean it's always easy, but there's a clear difference between effort and suffering, and Jung pointed exactly to that. When suffering repeats without growth, when pain becomes routine and no transformation happens, it's a sign we're swimming against the current of our own destiny. Life is always speaking to us, but we've gotten used to ignoring it. Not forcing things is an act of trust. It means looking honestly at what isn't working. Instead of trying to control more, we take a deep breath and let the truth come forward. It takes courage to admit that not everything we want is what we really need, and that not every path we start deserves to be finished. Sometimes letting go is the only way forward, and this small act can change everything. Forcing a situation almost always means we're trying to control something that no longer makes sense. When things keep going wrong, when conversations always end in conflict, when efforts never pay off, or when plans just hit wall after wall, our instinct is to try harder. We think if we just push one more time, it will work, that maybe the problem lies within us. But what if the real problem is the pushing itself? Instead of solving anything, it only creates more tension. It's like tightening a screw into cracked wood. It might feel steady, but it's about to break completely. Often, insisting too much is just a way to deny what's already clear. It's our fear trying to keep control even when reality demands change. It's hard to accept something isn't working. We cling, get fooled, build expectations, and when they don't come true, frustration and exhaustion follow. That feeling of fighting an invisible wall. Jung talked a lot about this. He said many times we're led by who we think we should be instead of listening to who we really are inside. When disconnected from ourselves, we follow paths that don't match what we truly feel. No matter how hard we try, things just don't move forward. That we feel stuck, anxious, like we're always in the wrong place, because we really are. But instead of stopping and reflecting, our impulse is to push even harder. Not forcing anything is a way to respect yourself. It's honestly recognizing that some things just aren't meant to be right now, or maybe ever. This isn't about giving up. It's about having the courage to hear what life is trying to tell you. Because while we're busy pushing something that won't budge, we miss the signs pointing to other possibilities. Jung believed these signs are there, but they don't shout. They whisper, and those rushing or forcing too much don't hear them. That's why letting go can be the wisest choice. When we stop forcing, life begins to flow differently, and in this new rhythm, the right things start to come, not because we chase them, but because we finally stopped running away from what really matters. Sometimes all we want is a clear answer, a yes or no, a sure path, a guarantee that things will work if we do this or that. But life rarely offers that kind of certainty. And when it goes silent, when answers don't come, our instinct is to force. We look for signs where none exist, give meaning where there's none, and often cling to things clearly showing they're not the right time, place, or path. Carl Jung said much of human suffering comes from trying to escape the emptiness. We fear silence, waiting, the gap. We want to fill it with action, plans, and excuses. But there's a hidden wisdom in that space between what was and what's yet to come. And it's exactly there, right there, where transformation is born. The problem is, we've been taught to believe that constant movement equals progress. We think that always doing something, even if it's pointless or draining, is a sign of strength. But often, it's just fear in disguise. Fear of stopping and really facing what we feel deep down. Fear of realizing that a relationship isn't good for us, that the path we chose no longer fits who we've become, or that the image of success we built long ago has completely lost its meaning. Jung pointed out that when the soul feels restless, no amount of logic can convince the mind otherwise, because this isn't about right or wrong, it's about internal harmony. When something inside us says no, and we push ahead anyway, life starts sending signals. And if we don't listen, those signals grow louder, even shouting. That's when exhaustion sets in, the kind that never fades. Anxiety appears out of nowhere. And we feel like we're constantly running but going nowhere. The truth is, if something isn't meant to be, no matter how hard you try, it will keep getting stuck. But when you let go, when you accept that you don't have to keep forcing it, a new kind of peace begins to grow. Maybe you still don't have all the answers. Maybe fear is still there. But now you have truth. And truth, even when it hurts, has the power to free us. Jung believed that we only find our true path when we have the courage to let go of what no longer serves us. And letting go isn't weakness, it's maturity. It's trusting that by releasing what's forced, we make room for what's real. Sometimes, it feels like everything around us is against us. You try, you organize, you plan, you insist, but life responds with delays, failures, and closed doors. Anger, frustration, the urge to push harder, as if the world is purposely resisting you. But what if, instead of being a test, it's a warning? Carl Jung saw these moments not as punishment or personal failure, but as messages, signals from within telling us we're disconnected from what truly matters. When life seems stuck on all sides, the problem might not be outside, it might be inside us. And the hardest part is admitting this, because we tend to resist, to insist, to prove we can handle it. But real growth often isn't about conquering. It's about knowing when to stop. Everything follows a natural cycle, beginning, middle, and end. But we've gotten used to only dealing with beginnings. We want to start things, keep things going, save things. We struggle to accept that something might have come to its end. So we force it to continue, relationships that no longer make sense but stay alive out of fear of loneliness. Jobs that no longer feed our soul, but we keep for security. Old ideas that no longer represent us, but we hold on to them so we don't disappoint others. Jung said that when we don't let things die at the right time, we create suffering because every denied ending becomes repetition. And repetition is life's way of saying, you haven't learned yet. So it all repeats, the pain, the mistakes, the same patterns disguised as new stories. Knowing when to stop is just as important as knowing when to start. But that requires listening, courage to admit that the energy you're putting in is no longer healthy. It's resistance, it's wounds, it's pride trying to save something that's already lost inside. When you stop forcing, you start to see what you didn't want to face. Maybe you realize it was never about making it work, but about learning what you needed from that situation and then moving on. Jung believed life has its own rhythm, and true wisdom is in dancing with that flow, not fighting it. When you respect the pace of things, even endings take on new meaning. Because it's not about losing, it's about growing. There's a big difference between fighting for something and forcing something. Fighting comes with purpose, direction, an inner feeling that despite the struggles, it makes sense. Forcing, on the other hand, brings tension, anguish, and a strange emptiness. Even when we're surrounded by effort, we feel like we're burning energy but not moving forward. It's like running on a treadmill. Your body moves, but you stay in the same place. Carl Jung said there's a hidden wisdom in moments when everything feels stuck. In those moments, instead of asking why things aren't working, maybe the truest question is, why do I keep insisting? And that's when the answers begin to come, not from outside, but from within. Often, we force things because we confuse desire with truth. We want something so badly that we start believing we need it to be happy. And when that desire turns into a need, we lose our freedom to choose. We act on impulse, not awareness. But not everything we want truly serves us. Not every closed door is unfair. Sometimes it's protection. Sometimes life is telling us it's not the right time, or that it no longer fits who we're becoming. Jung believed suffering happens when our experience is far from who we truly are. The more we push that gap, the more lost and empty we feel. Because there's a high price to pay when we live trying to fit into places where we no longer belong. Stopping forcing doesn't mean stopping dreaming or giving up on what we want. It means, above all, honestly listening to what life is trying to show us. Maybe what we're chasing without success is guiding us back inside, to who we really are, to what deep down we already know but fear to accept. When we begin to let go, listen, and honor life's pace, a quiet shift starts. Pressure eases, the mind calms, and even the fears that once felt huge start losing power. Because when we stop fighting life's flow, life stops fighting us. And that's when something truly new can begin. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is stopping, not continuing, not insisting, not trying to save what's already broken inside. We've been taught that persistence is always a virtue, but no one ever told us that sometimes persistence can become a trap. A trap of suffering, control, and the belief that we're only worthy if we handle everything. And the truth is, this drains us, steals our clarity, and disconnects us from our intuition. Carl Jung believed that when we drift away from who we are, we start living behind masks, roles we learn to play to be accepted, admired, or loved. But these masks grow heavy over time. Forcing what no longer works is just a way to keep wearing a mask that can't hold up anymore. Sometimes life stops everything on the outside so we can finally hear ourselves on the inside. The silence of things not working out has a purpose. It creates space, forces us to pause, and invites us to dive deeper. But out of fear of feeling, we fill that emptiness with busyness, rushed decisions, and excuses. That noise doesn't solve anything, it only delays the inevitable. Jung said that everything we avoid facing inside eventually shows up outside as our destiny. What we don't resolve within ourselves turns into repeating patterns, unexplained suffering, and endless cycles. So when everything feels stuck, maybe it's not time to push forward, but to honestly look at what we're denying and accept that there is pain. Yes, pain, but also a real chance for freedom. Letting go isn't abandoning. It's consciously choosing where to put your energy. It's stopping the effort on things that don't bring peace. When you stop forcing, your whole perspective changes. You realize you don't have to run so hard, prove so much, or control every little thing. Slowly, a new kind of confidence begins to grow. Not confidence in guaranteed results, but confidence in yourself, knowing that whatever happens, you can handle it. Not because you have everything under control, but because now you are whole. Because now you're aligned with what you feel, what you believe, and what you respect in yourself. This is what Jung meant when he said true transformation starts from within. Because when you change inside, the world around you changes too. Sometimes stopping feels scary because it forces us to face the fear of losing time, opportunities, people. But what we rarely realize is how much we're already losing by holding on to what no longer flows. We lose emotional health, presence, and the joy of life. When we keep forcing what clearly pushes us away, we're really abandoning ourselves. Carl Jung believed the soul has its own rhythm, and when we ignore it, it starts to scream through our bodies, emotions, and confusion. It's in those moments that exhaustion takes over, discouragement settles in, and everything that once felt certain begins to feel empty. Not because life is against us, but because we resist what it's trying to teach us. Life is always changing, Nothing stays exactly the same, and that includes our desires, relationships, plans, and even how we see the world. Trying to keep everything frozen is fighting a natural flow, and that fight comes at a high cost. When we accept that things change, and that's just part of living, we start to feel relief. Because letting go is also an act of love. Love for ourselves, for others, and for the truth in every moment. And Jung didn't talk about a perfect life. He talked about a more conscious one. Living consciously means realizing that what looks like an ending might actually be the start of something far more aligned with who we truly are. There's no peace in rigidity. Peace lives in surrender, in the quiet trust that you can keep walking even when you can't see the whole path. Forcing means clinging to control. Letting go means opening up to what life wants to show you. It takes courage. Yes, it can bring fear and uncertainty, but it's in that space between what was and what will be that real transformation happens. Jung called this the process of individuation, becoming who you really are. No masks, no noise, no forcing, just letting life honestly carry you to where you need to be. So if everything feels hard, if nothing fits, if the effort is huge and the return almost none, maybe it's not a lack of will, laziness, or weakness. Maybe it's life gently, and sometimes forcefully, showing you that this path no longer serves you. That the version of you who insists, who forces, who tries to handle everything, is tired because it's not being true to what it feels. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all lose ourselves trying to get it right at some point. We all forget to listen to what the heart quietly whispers deep down. The good news? It's never too late to listen again. Never too late to let go of what weighs you down and make space for what sets you free. Carl Jung said that what we resist persists, and that's true. As long as we try to control everything, life will keep showing us that control isn't safety, that forcing pushes away, that insisting on what doesn't recognize us, respect us, or fit who we've become is slowly abandoning ourselves. And abandoning yourself is one of the most silent, common pains there is, but it's curable. The first step is simple, though challenging. Stop. Stop fighting time. Stop trying to fix what keeps breaking. Stop expecting the world to change when what really needs to change is how you treat yourself, listen to yourself, and respect yourself. Not forcing anything is an act of trust. Trust in you, trust in life, trust that what's true will stay and what's not will go. It might hurt at first because what stays by force demands a price. But what stays by choice, alignment, and real love builds peace. And peace, after all, is what we're all searching for. Not in big answers, promises, or magic formulas, but in that quiet moment when you stop, take a deep breath, and feel for the first time in a long time that you're not forcing anything, you're just being. And that, just that, is enough to start a new life.